So I'd like to welcome Charlotte to today's session. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me. And I was able to meet Charlotte recently and just understand really how her needle phobia has really impacted her life. And we brought Charlotte on today just to experience hypnotherapy in a slightly different, more dynamic way than what she's experienced it before. So if you'd just like to start, Charlotte, just by explaining how long you've had this phobia for and how it's impacted your life, I guess.
Whew, I've had it since I was probably 6, 7 years old, maybe a bit younger, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Um, I think it stemmed from the dentist when I first went there, and I had to have a tooth taken out. And the dentist and my dad both said to me, if it hurts, squeeze my hand and we'll stop. And I was squeezing and I was squeezing, and they didn't stop. And I
Right.
think since then, I can't really remember having to go for anything else willingly going, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, so I think it might have come from then. But it's just affected me massively in the aspect of I never wanted children because I knew that you had to have needles to have children. And
Mm.
then I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, and it wasn't something like it wasn't a joyful thing for me to go, oh, I'm having a baby. It was more of a, oh dear, like I've got to have needles and stuff now if this is. And it got through to the point where during my pregnancy I couldn't have any needles during my pregnancy unless I had gas in air to make sure that I was loopy enough to not know what they was doing, or even they're just saying to me like the whooping cough jab, like it can save your child's life and stuff. I was like very selfish, as if to say I can't, like I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I'd love nothing more to have been able to, but the fear just takes over me that much to the point where I just panic and I just get in my own head
Mm.
and I just can't do normal everyday like things that I should really be able to. Like I should be able to take my daughter to have her jabs, but I can't
No.
because I don't want her to feel how I feel. So if I just stay out
No.
of the situation, you
Yeah.
won't get scared like I do.
So if I was to say to you, right, okay, Charlotte, your daughter needs this jab and there's no one else to take her, what would likely happen in that moment if I said, right, okay, this is the only thing you've got to do. You're the one, you've got to stand up, you've got to just do it. What would happen to you in that moment?
I'd have to go, obviously, for the sake of her and try and put my big girl pants on. But I would literally probably I wouldn't be able to comfort her like I'd want to just sit her down and let them deal with her and I just not be there kind of thing. Like you do what you need to do right now because I can't help. It's a
Right.
bit I don't know, it's an awful thing. Like I've never been in that situation, touch wood, like somebody's always been able to take her for me.
Wonderful. And have you been to your GP? Have you sought any help? Have they given you any medication? What type of therapy have you tried
So
prior to this?
when I was younger, um, we I got in touch with the doctors and all this because they can't refer you to anybody for it. They don't do anything for phobias of them kinds apparently.
Right.
But they did end up taking me to the hospital and taking me into a children's ward where there's poorly children. I'm talking when I was in my teens. They did
Mm.
this. Um, that had to have needles to make them better and make me understand that they make you better. But then there was also belittling me, like saying, "Well, look, these can have it done, and they're younger than you," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of pushed it the opposite way. Like you're making me feel stupid about it now.
Mm.
Like it's not. If I could just get over it, I absolutely would. It's not that I don't want to. It's just not that straightforward. It's like if people have got a phobia of something else, it's not for me to go, well, you shouldn't have that because I know how it feels.
Yeah.
So they kind of belittled me, the doctors and
Right.
the nurses and stuff, and made me think, well, they can have it done. You're old enough to
Mm.
have it done. And then I tried hypnotherapy. I think I had 6 sessions of that with another lady in Nottingham. I feel it might have helped slightly, but not to the extent that I'd happily go and get myself a needle. Like I wouldn't back in my time, I wouldn't even be able to speak about them. So that is a little bit of a help, but not to the point where I don't think I could go out and get myself my bloods taken and stuff like that. Like I don't.
Right. So you're not new to hypnotherapy. So what do you remember of your other sessions that you've had so far?
I think it was quite a scripted um session as such. Like they put you into some kind of like a deep sleepish kind of thing. Um and they say the same things over and over,
Mm.
which is fine. But I don't really remember all that much because I think I was that just in it. And I think I wanted it to work that much that I tried to just, I don't know.
Go with it, go with the flow and just trust the process, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay. So what I'm first of all going to say is whatever you've experienced before, rightly or wrongly, that sounds very different to how I work. So all that you need to know in this moment is that when I take you into hypnosis, it's going to be a guided state. You're going to feel quite relaxed, quite calm. That's like a normal state of hypnosis. However, hypnosis is not relaxation. Where I'll work differently is in a moment I'm going to take you into hypnosis. And when I take you into hypnosis, you're going to feel that hypnosis flood all the way down from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. It's going to be a full focus state. So what I'm going to do now, just explain how this is going to work for you. I'm going to take you in. And the wonderful thing is, you're sat in your armchair, you're in somewhere that's safe for you, you're going to feel nice and comfortable. Okay. So all hypnosis is a full state of focus. So have I got your focus now, Charlotte?
You have,
Wonderful,
yes.
thank you. And I want you to really listen to my words and just focus on my words now. So when I do take you into hypnosis, you'll still be aware of your surroundings, you'll still know that you're safe at home, and you'll be able to be guided into that state of hypnosis. And unlike the other hypnotherapy that you've had, I will take you in and out of hypnosis around 4 or 5 times. I may even ask you questions and you'll be able to answer. You're not going to be in a sleep. You're still aware. So in terms of hypnosis, we've got our conscious thoughts that we have on a daily basis when we have our conversations and we're talking our logical brain. When we're dealing with hypnosis, we're dealing with the subconscious mind, so that's your beliefs, habits, and behaviors. And when I take you into hypnosis in a moment, that's what you're going to connect to, and that's what's going to be released. Within the emotional release, you will add that release, and how those emotions might release is you might start to cry, you might get flashbacks, you might see images playing out. And the rare event, you may even scream, but that's very, very rare. So don't worry about that at all. Basically, all those things that you've suppressed are going to be released. Okay. It's in the past, out of sight and out of mind now. I want you to try and find that emotional pain in that memory. And the harder you try, the more energy you put into trying to find that emotional pain, the more you'll recognize it's simply not there, out of sight and out of mind now. It's in the past and it's gone now. You're no longer sick because you're sat on that sofa looking at me. Try and find it now. And the harder you try, the more energy, because you've had it since you were 6 years old, the more energy you put into trying to find it, the more you recognize it's simply not there. Try and find it now. Try and look for it now. You find it? No?
That's mad.
That's the same thing that people tell me when I tell them hypnosis works. I'm mad. Can you find it? Try and look for it. I've had this since you were 6 years old. And the harder you try,
No.
the more energy you put into trying, the more you recognize it's not there, it's gone. Can you find it? Scan your body. You said you'd got all this. I think this was probably when you had that injection. You said that you got all this thing in your face.
Yeah.
Your right side. Can you feel that tightness in your tummy? You've got tightness in your chest, sweaty palms. Is all that gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why this needle phobia was so intense, your mind still thought you was in your body. Just like someone that's been to war that comes back to the UK, your mind still thought you was there, still sat in that dentist chair. You've been in that dentist chair since you were 6 years old. That's a long time. That's a long time to be stuck in a chair. But you're not now.
Yeah.
You're not now.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Takes a while to process it. You know, this morning you woke up, the sky was blue, the grass was green, and now yeah,
Yeah.
you're letting go of emotional pain because your body had still remembered that. It was still remembered it so vividly. She'd got this pain in your face, in your body, your chest.
Yeah.
I think what you was describing there was like a panic attack almost. You said that your chest felt tight
Yeah.
and your breath was getting
Well,
fast.
that's what happens. I go back to that moment every time I need an injection. I start having a panic attack and hyperventilating
Yeah.
because I was obviously still in that moment.
Mm. How does it feel to let that go?
At the minute, I'm just very confused. Like, is it that simple? That
Yeah. Yeah. The mind's powerful. That's what you need to understand. The mind's powerful. This is the same thing that I use with clients that have gone through complex PTSD, clients that have gone through rape, childhood sexual abuse, domestic violence, narcissistic relationships. Those women that want to leave the partners, but they can't because they feel like it's almost like they know they're bad, but they keep going back. All these, it's exactly the same technique that I use with everybody. That's why the issue is never the issue. Your mind just simply thought you were still in that moment of trauma. And I think when you said at the beginning that you'd said to your dad, you know, it said to you, if you squeeze me, I will stop, and the dentist. So that trust was massive for
yeah,
them,
massive.
that trust. And then it's like both of them, not only your dad, but the dentist that was doing the work. It's like this threw like deaf ears onto that. So that
Yeah,
I think would have been probably quite intense for a little girl.
yeah, definitely. That's that's baffled me because I can't even like beforehand I could tell you exactly what the dentist room looked like, exactly where we was, what we was doing,
Mm.
and now I can't even like I remember where the dentist was, but I
Yeah.
can't remember what was actually like as such happening.
The thing is, was that serving you, or was it helping you, that memory, other than making your life rubbish?
Not at all. But
No.
then I think in my head I still don't understand how a dentist can make me hate something so long, even to like this day, do you know what I mean? To have a fear. I don't know, I don't get it.
Because the mind and body are connected. You know, when we talk about mindfulness, like our mind is like somewhere up there in like a fluffy cloud, and our
Mm,
body, but they're both the same. And your body had remembered that pain. I don't know if you had a needle in your eye. I don't know what that was. It doesn't matter if, it doesn't matter to understand it, but that numbing that you probably had when you had that injection in your jaw, or that you would have had at the dentist, your body still remembered that panic, that physical sensation of your chest tightening up, of your breath getting really fast. Your body still remembered that, and
yeah.
because it still remembered it, it's almost like I always think of being in hypnosis is like having access to your library. Imagine that your head is a big library. So that story that you told yourself about that, just exactly the same that you in the exact same way that you told yourself about that wonderful memory that you went to when you was 3 about Christmas, and it's all wonderful and pretty and fantastic. That story is in that encyclopedia, in that library in your mind. Your body still remembered that moment in time that you went to the dentist. Your dad said, "Squeeze my hand," and he did. He did, and you still felt that pain. Your body remembers that. Your body remembers that.
Mm,
And that's all that's happened, is that you've basically been desensitized to it. So it's not serving you. If it was serving you, if you've got, um, think about when you have a really nice memory. Think about, I don't know, if you've got like a really fluffy memory of your mum or dad, or of your little girl, and maybe when you bring that, it makes you feel like all like butterflies in your tummy. It's that lovely, warm, fuzzy memory, but you feel it physically, don't you?
yeah.
Feel it physically. There's exactly the same, but it's that negative memory. You're feeling it physically, so that when you then go and have that same, when you go through that same process of whether it's going to your GP to get an injection, or going to the dentist, or you're in labour and you need those injections, your mind's like, just a minute, we've been here before, and this is what we do. This is
Yeah.
what we do. Think about when you go to a party when you was a child, it's like, right, it's a great party, the music's on, it's like oh, wonderful, you start dancing. Exactly the same thing. Your mind's like, well, just a minute, we don't like this, and this is what we do. We have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Now is you've let that go. You've let it go. So things are going to change now.
Wow. Yeah.
In terms of that phobia, that fear, it's just a story. It's exactly the same as like a 6-year-old little girl like reading mermaids or something and being like really, really into that book,
Yeah.
and then saying to a 30-year-old or 40-year-old or 50-year-old, this is the best thing ever, the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But it's an old story. You can let it go now. You can let it.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry it now. How does it feel now when you think about needles? How does it feel?
I feel like I could try and have one as such now. Like I'm not as, I don't feel like I'm panicking
Yeah,
or,
needle. Absolutely.
so I feel like if the time came that I needed one, I think I'd at least get there and actually try.